Good morning, good morning. Welcome to another story time. I'm really enjoying doing these longer form stories. I'm going to try and keep them focused. That's why I've got a lot of notes today. So you have some takeaways, you have some questions, you have some things to think about, to consider, to ponder. And so it's not just me rabbiting on at you. Today is the day 5 years ago that I made a really bold move in my business. One of the biggest, bravest, boldest, scariest moves I think I've ever made in my career. And I've also been somebody who has taken risks and been led by my instinct and my heart. But this felt big. And also, I didn't realize how big it was at the time until I had to deal with that decision. So 5 years ago, I decided to sign up to work with a coach for an entire year. And I had never done this before, not at this financial investment, not at this commitment investment. I was new in that world. So I wasn't somebody who was like, oh, this year I'm going to work with this person. This year I'm going to do that. I'd never done it at that level. I also want to set the scene because on paper, this made no sense to be doing this at this time. But I knew that I needed to. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. So in 2019, I had been pregnant pretty much from November 2018 to August 2019. That was my pregnancy with my daughter. Really difficult, really challenging pregnancy. I had about 50 appointments. I did not feel safe and secure in that pregnancy at all. I also had a 3-year-old, so life had to go on, and I was in that flow of just doing the thing. And so when she was born in August 2019, it felt like the most enormous relief that she was here, that she was safe, that she was well, that I was well. The things that they thought in the pregnancy didn't turn out to be true. So there was a lot of relief. Also in that moment, after having her, I realized that I could, in a way, feel like me again because I wasn't pregnant, I wasn't hot, I wasn't enormous, and I wasn't taking up all that brain space worrying about her. But it was a new worry, and it was an adjustment from going from one child to two children. And I also, so by the time, fast forward to 5 years ago, January 2020, January the 30th, Luna was about 5 months and I had a 4-year-old. And this was 2 months before our the pandemic came into place. So I had no idea at the time when I was making this decision that 2 months later, my partner wouldn't have any work in the slightest. My work, some of it would be cancelled, but my business would change in a different kind of way. I had no idea we would be homeschooling. I didn't know any of it. And so when I look back on that decision, I'm just like, wow, that was a big financial and focus commitment to say, right, for the next 12 months, I am doing this. So I just wanted to share that because sometimes I think we tell ourselves that we need everything to be perfect before we move forward. And what brought me to this decision wasn't practical. It was an innate feeling that something had to change, which brings me on to my first point. I knew that I had outgrown where I had previously been, and I knew a new chapter was brewing. And sometimes we get that feeling as a business owner, as a human being, that we're in that lull, we're in that crossroads moment where we're never quite sure what's going next. We know that the old stuff doesn't feel as great. I think about it like when I was just about to leave home, like the fact that I'd been at sixth form college 6 weeks before was irrelevant. It was just like, oh, that was a new thing, but I wasn't fully in the new chapter. And that's where I felt. And so first and foremost, if you are in that place right now, notice it all. There are so many clues, so many thoughts and feelings that are around you. Really pay attention to it. Don't push it down and just continue and go, I just don't know what I'm doing. I'm just winging it. I'm just making it up as I go along. Invite yourself to ask some deeper questions, such as, why does that thing not feel good anymore? What is it that's really sparking me? What are the parts of my business that I'm really drawn to? Who am I watching on the internet going, how did she do that? Interesting. Pay attention to it all. All of the clues are there for you to absorb. The second thing, my life was requiring new things. And in the January when I made the decision, it was more from a, do you know what? I need to take this business to the next level. But also, like, I've now got 2 children to look after, and I need to figure out how I'm going to do that. And I was very much in that new chapter, that new phase of adjustments. And also 2 months later, this wasn't a nice to have thing of like, oh, if I could just make a bit of money in my little online business, that would be nice. It was like, no, like we need to feed all 4 of us here. And yeah, that was quite something. So this is also a reminder that sometimes we have to make those decisions. We have to make those leaps when things are not neat, and being comfortable with the fact that sometimes it is messy. And this is my frustration with online business. Everybody talks about the perfect morning routine, the perfect thing I drink in the morning. I do my gua sha, and then I do my LED mask or whatever the thing is before they get going. And it's all perfect. It's all beautifully lit. Most of the time, certainly in this house, that is not what it looks like. I was trying to finish an email this morning, and my daughter was really going into detail about what she wanted to take for show and tell, because it was her day today. She had about 6 things on the table, discussing them all in detail. She did not want me to be doing that email, but equally that email needed to be done. So sometimes we're just figuring it out. So if you are waiting for that moment for things to be perfect before you move, it's just a way of staying where you are. Yeah, I've said it. It's just a way of staying where you are, because most of us do not have that set of perfection, that moment. And when we talk about this thing, I've been talking a lot about it in my content. When we have that idea of perfection, it's usually a snapshot. It's a dinner table, like the perfect setting. It's exactly when the sun is moving, we get that picture. Or it's a 2-second moment where you capture 2 people. Most of the time, things are in motion. And when things are in motion, they can be messy. And they can be all the other things apart from perfect. Number 3, I have always prided on myself on being somebody who did. And I want to be somebody sometimes who just talks about it, because it's fun. It's lovely. It's lovely chatting about an idea and considering and umming and ahhing about how something worked. It's irrelevant. Like, for me, the whole point is about doing the thing. And I remember when I really began to, and I think I was about 12. I knew I wanted to go to drama school. And so I began, I mean, it's bizarre really, because that's like 3 years off what my son is, but I had to start to show up as somebody who is going to do the thing, not somebody who was talking about it. And that was difficult sometimes. It was extra things. It was sacrifices. It was saying no to something. It was my parents working even harder. It was late nights. It was early mornings. It was making different decisions. And then when I looked at myself in this situation, I didn't want to be somebody who just kept talking about it or moaning about it or saying it's all right for them or whatever nonsense that might like pop up. I wanted to be the sort of person who did. And the people who do make moves. They make decisions. They take action. They invest in themselves. They do the thing. And so sometimes we have to have that moment that if we are not getting the results, it comes from us. Yes, we can blame society. We can say all of these other outside things, but we also have to look at ourselves in that conversation. And that's what I had to do. Number 4, I knew that with a baby, with a 4-year-old, with all of the things that I wanted to do, I needed a place. I needed a place where I could remember, where I could refuel, where I could regroup, where I could rejuvenate, a place where I could keep coming back to that was solid. Like, this is the thing that I'm building. This is the dream that I have. And this is why when I work with clients one-on-one myself, when we do our monthly work together, for example, we're often in touch every single day. And that in itself is such a commitment to yourself to say, this goal is in my head. It's a priority each and every day, because I'm doing something each and every day for the next month with Nicky, where I'm going into WhatsApp saying, I did this thing today, or what do you think about this? Or I was considering X, Y, and Z. What do you reckon? And it's too easy, especially if you're like me, busy, maybe you're a parent, maybe you're a carer, maybe you're doing numerous things, maybe you are that person in your friendship group that it's like, no worries, I'll book the Airbnb, I'll sort this out, I've done this, all of it, we're all doing it. And so for me personally, before I get, or during, or alongside being pulled in all different directions, I have always looked for places where I can rejuvenate. And sometimes that's, for me, has been working with a coach. Sometimes that's been my running practice. Sometimes that's been journaling. Sometimes that's, joining some kind of membership or whatever it might be. I have committed to that. And this is the difficult thing, that if people were saying, what are you spending all that money for doing that thing? They don't get it. They're spending money in different ways. They're maybe spending money on a golf club membership. I don't want to play golf. I don't want a membership to a golf club. It's not my thing. But spending money surrounded with people who go, yeah, go on, you can do that. Or let me help you. Let me introduce you to that person. And likewise, me do the same for them. That's powerful. That's money well spent for me. Number 5, I needed, and I was craving, a longer period of time to show up for this dream. A year. Now, the thing that you will hear, especially at this time of year, end of January, people will be patting themselves on the back like, I've done this healthy eating thing for January. Tick. I've done a month, or I've done dry January, or whatever it might be. And all of that is brilliant and commendable. But if you are only committing for a relatively short period of time, you're not going to really see what you are made of in a longer period of time. Or rather, I invite you to see, what would you say to yourself? How would you show up if you knew for the next year you were committed to this? It's a different energy. It's not an in, out, shake it all about. I did it when I felt like it. I was a bit tired today. So, I'll revisit next week or in the summer or all those sorts of things. That was a real shift for me. And saying to myself, right, here we go. The next year, 365 days, let's go. Let's do this. That was what I was craving. Number 6, I wanted to be able to benefit and enjoy the downstream of what was possible. What do I mean by this? Sometimes you might feel like the only one. Sometimes you might feel like the odd one out, or is this possible? Or the noise outside is so loud, it's really difficult to find the wood for the trees. I was surrounded at that time with people who go, you could absolutely do that. Let me show you. Have you got this piece of technology? Have you seen this? Do you know what? If you just tweak those 3 things, that will work. That absolutely. And that belief in your environment, in your surroundings, in the back of your head is incredibly powerful. I was talking to a really great pal of mine the other day, and her and her daughter had recently been to Sri Lanka, and they had toured for 5 weeks, the 2 of them on a tuk-tuk. And when I saw her photos that she shared with us, I just was like, I mean, I'm quite in awe of her anyway, because her travel bug, she just makes everything feel very doable. And I heard myself in my head say, I don't know if I could ever do that. And she said, you could. Here's the company. This is what you do. They sort it out. They show you the different routes. You do it based on how long you want to stay there. And then this is the support. And they give you a list of places where you could do that. It's $20 a day. And it took that moment for her to say to me, and I just thought, oh yeah, I could do that. I've got a driving license. Yeah, of course. I could drive a little tuk-tuk thing around Sri Lanka. Beautiful. I would love to do that. And sometimes it's just those other people in your surroundings who go, yeah, you can. And I see it all the time in my coaching sessions where somebody will come with maybe 70% of an idea, and they go, yeah, but I just don't know how to do that. I'm like, well, I do. I can show you. I can show you right now. And by the end of it, you will have 100% of what you need in order to get started. Number 7, consistency, riding the rhythm and collecting the data. After that year, I had to pay attention in that year. And I also had so much data about myself. And I could notice it. I noticed it in my income. I was gathering. Oh, this is what happens then. Oh, this is when things change. This is how long it actually takes to do this thing, instead of me just saying, oh, I'm never going to have time to do that. No, I did the thing and I've now worked it out. If you're committing to something, whether it's February, pay attention to all of that information, all of that data. Look at your stats of what's going on, because that's the only way you're going to know what is happening next. And also our feelings are so strong that we might tell ourselves, well, it's this and I'm feeling this. And then actually on paper, it doesn't equate. We can sometimes do that. I'm working so hard though. And then your bank account is not where you want it to be. So that's information that there's a disconnect there. That means that there's something that needs to change. Number 8, I needed to get into the mindset of, so how could I do this? How many? What if I did this? What would need to happen next? All the beautiful open questions. In order to sign up for that year-long program, I needed to find £750 per month from my business in order to pay for that. That felt like a huge expense, enormous at that time. And so I really needed to look at different ways of doing it, and not just resting on, well, if it hasn't happened before, how am I ever going to make it happen? I had to get creative. I had to get a pen and paper and write down ideas, messy ideas, 20 different ways I could do it. Okay, and the 20 different things, maybe there's 3 that could actually work. And if I pulled 1 and 2 together and actually scrap 3, because 3, it's never going to work. That's where you find it. And I think so often when there is an opportunity or something new, or something needs to change, you say no at the first go. And actually there might be 20 other questions before you get to the yes. And so working that side of my mind, it's coaching. Yes, it is. I had to coach myself. That really began to move things, because that sense of, if you've always done what you've always done, you always know what you're going to get. Is that the phrase? What's got you here won't get you there. All of these things. I had to change my thinking. I had to be open to ideas, because we are so committed and loyal to our limiting beliefs, our ways of doing things. We are so loyal to it. And so sometimes we have to push ourselves to think of alternatives. And sometimes we might go through all the alternatives and go, yeah, it's not for me. Fine, no problem. But really explore all of the parts. Number 9, I learnt all about my darkness, my shadows, the parts that I was missing. And sometimes that was me crying on the call saying, oh my gosh, it's just, some things just made sense. That thing that happened when I was 10 years old, oh, that's why I'm not doing this thing. And I think that most of us don't want to sit in that stuff of what's really going on. We give ourselves that jolly summary of like, well, it was this, and I ran out of time, and I've just been so busy, and and we see that surface thing. I'm talking from my own personal experience. And actually what we need to do is look underneath and go, yeah, I'm not doing that because I'm scared. Yeah, I'm not doing that because that feels uncomfortable to me. And that makes me feel like that 6-year-old version of me. And that doesn't make me feel safe. That's what I learned. Number 10, I really realized that confidence and success and progress happens by doing. And that is how you build the muscle. I've really realized this in terms of parenting, for example. I don't become a better parent by just being in my head and parenting fake scenarios in my head. I become a better parent when in that moment I have to communicate in a different way, or I have to practice patience when I am so frustrated, or I have to stay in the room and hold that space when I just want to go out and, go for a coffee by myself. That's how I've learned to be a better parent. And it's the same with your business. It's the same with your dreams. It's the same with your business progression, your confidence. You gain that by doing it. And you gain it by doing it in those moments where you just think, I can't, I don't want to, or this feels uncomfortable. Can I just do something else? You can, of course you can. But I'm always thinking long term, certainly in terms of parenting. And my goodness, I am not professing to have all of the answers in terms of parenting. I only parent my own 2 children. I don't know how to parent yours, and I'm not a parenting expert for all children. But it challenges me as a person, and that changes by doing it. I hope today has been useful. I hope if you are thinking about February, you are willing to look at things in a different way. I would love to help and support you. I've got some monthly spots. I've got some strategy sessions. What are you going to do with today? What resonated with you? What landed for you? What are you thinking like, okay. She's now said it and I now can't unhear it. What are those things? I would love to know. Message me. Let's book in a chat if you want to chat further and build and create something and really make your business model workable for you. I would love to help and support you. Lots of love and see you very soon. Bye.